Good evening, one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome you all for this 3 days national level virtual research development program on advanced research methodology and statistical analysis for social science, organized by the Department of Commerce SF, V.H.N.S.N.College, Virudhunagar. Now it's time for prayer. When we pray, God hears more than we say, answers more than we ask, gives more than we imagine in his own time and in his own way. So, let's start the program with the prayer song followed by our college anthem.
கல்லூரியே எம்மை காக்க வந்த எங்கள் கல்லூரியே உம்மை மறவோம். கல்லூரியே உம்மை காத்து நிற்போம் என்ற சங்கல்பம் நாங்கள் தருவோம். கல்லூரியே எம்மை காக்க வந்த எங்கள் கல்லூரியே உம்மை மறவோம். கல்லூரியே உம்மை காத்து நிற்போம் என்ற சங்கல்பம் நாங்கள் தருவோம். ஒரு தாய் இல்லாமல் இந்த உலகில் எங்கு ஒரு செய்யேது, நீ இல்லாமல் எங்கள் அறிவு கோயில் இங்கு வேறேது. கல்லூரியே எம்மை காக்க வந்த எங்கள் கல்லூரியே உம்மை மறவோம். சிந்திக்குமார் செதுக்கி செய்த இந்த கலை சிற்பம், எத்திக்குமாய் புகழை சாற்றி அவர் பெயர் பேசும். கற்போம் கற்பிப்போம் இங்கு கற்றவைகளை, கொடுப்போம் வளர்ப்போம் இங்கு பெற்றவைகளை. லட்சம் லட்சம் பேருக்கு வாழ்க்கை தந்துள்ளார். உச்சம் உச்சம் போவது பொன்முதிரம் நீந்துள்ளார். கல்லூரி வளர்ந்து நிற்க கல்லூரியே எம்மை காக்க வந்த எங்கள் கல்லூரியே உம்மை மறவோம். கல்லூரியே உம்மை காத்து நிற்போம் என்ற சங்கல்பம் நாங்கள் தருவோம்.
Next, the welcome address. It's my privilege to deliver the welcome address. First of all, I would like to welcome our principal, Captain Dr. P. Sundarabandyan sir, for the great support in all the departmental activities. I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our self-finance programs coordinator, Dr. R. Palniappan sir, for encouraging and motivating us in conducting various departmental activities. I welcome you, sir. Then I welcome our resource person, Dr. Muthulashmi ma'am, for her continuous effort with us on various activities and fulfilling our thirst by sharing her valuable knowledge with us. We are grateful to her for accepting our invitation and becoming a chief guest of today's program. Ma'am, I welcome you, ma'am. Next, I would like to extend my welcome to our program tomorrow's resource person, Dr. Vijay Kumar sir, and I welcome our head of the department and all our staff members. Finally, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all the participants for spending their valuable time with us and showing their interest in the 3 days National Virtual Research Development Program. Once again, I welcome one and all. Thank you. Now I invite our respectable principal, Captain Dr. P. Sundarabandyan sir, to deliver the presidential address. Sir, please.
Good evening to all of you. This gives me immense pleasure to give the presidential address in this wonderful 3 days national program. This is the wonderful effort taken by the Department of Commerce and Finance to organize such a type of program. Previously, they have planned to organize this in offline mode, but they have organizing it in an online mode. Anyhow, it is a one of the best move to share the knowledge of research methodology. Especially this is the 3 days program. The first day program shows about the fundamentals of research, what is research, like that. And sampling, I would like to say a few words about the sampling. When we are going to generalize a particular thing, sampling is most important. Usually people say, sir, I am taking convenience sampling. And what is a convenience sampling? Whether there is any logic in choosing convenience sampling, and what would be the sample size? There are few, principles are there. You can't take it for granted to take a particular sample size, or I am going for a convenience sampling, or I am going for a random sampling, like that. So everybody should have a thorough fundamental knowledge about research methodology. What is our problem? What type of research methodology can be used? How research design can be built up, like that. Not only that, when I go through the thesis, while evaluating the thesis, many scholars have rampantly used many statistical tools which is not appropriate to that particular situation. So please know about the particular tool, whether the particular tool is suitable for that particular place, whether it can be right one by using that particular tool and giving a conclusion. So please, research scholars, make a note of it. Don't try for hi-fi tools. First, suppose if you are using a particular tool, then you should know about that particular tool. At what time that particular tool can be used, for what interpretation that particular tool can be applied. So have a basic concept of statistics, that particular tool. Nowadays, the people simply using SPSS or similar statistical packages, and they are implementing so many tools. It's possible for them, and it's not good. I want to say, please know about a particular tool so that you can have a clear idea about your data, and you can have a clear-cut interpretation from the data collected by you. So this is the right time to convince such a type of wonderful programs. I know personally the resource persons of the program, Dr. S. Muthulajee, because she's my ward, and I know her caliber, and now she's very much expert in statistical tools and research methodology, so that she's authored a book in research methodology with the application of SPSS, along with the other resource person, Dr. T. Vijayakumar. He is also expert in statistical tools. He has being an econometrics person, he knows type of tools and when the tools can be applied. So the participants are fortunate enough to have such a wonderful resource persons. So it won't be a one-sided thing. Please interact with the resource persons and update your knowledge. I congratulate the head of the department, Selvanathan, and other staff members for organizing such a wonderful program. And my best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Please bring many more programs for the benefit of the education benefits and staff members as well as students. And I wish the program a grand success. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I also, my wishes goes to Dr. R. Palniyappan, who is the self-finance program coordinator, who is the backbone of organizing such a type of programs. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I invite our self-finance programs coordinator, Dr. R. Palniappan sir, to felicitate the gathering. Sir, please.
So voice not clear, sir. So voice not.
Sir, you are not audible, sir. Sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm Dr. R. Palniappan. On behalf of college, I wholeheartedly thank our beloved principal, Dr. P. Sundarabandyan, for to have given us an opportunity to do this wonderful task. Dear participants, a very good evening to all of you. This
Good evening,
seminar.
sir.
Thank you. There are somewhere around 86 participants in this forum. Already 117 have registered in the a day long session is awaiting you. I'm not going to be in between the speakers and you participants, because you are here to gain knowledge. And in the view of knowledge dissipation, V.H.N.S.N.C. stands apart from other institutions in dissipating knowledge. And in particular, I'm very happy about the Department of Commerce, SF, the faculty members, the head of the department, Dr. Selvanathan, and all faculty members are doing a wonderful task to our institution, giving limelight of different aspects of research, different aspects of academics, and they are doing a remarkable job. I appreciate their efforts that they are taking, and really wonderful topic that they have selected for researchers. Many students are also in this forum. Please lend your ears to Dr. Muthulakshmi and Dr. Vijay Kumar. They are experts in the field. They have given a lot of ideas and a lot of academic details to participants in several such forums. And wonderfully, this program is going to take you miles. And hope this 2-day seminar will be, 3-day seminar will be a very useful one to all the participants. I wish this webinar a grand success. Thank you for giving me an opportunity, and sorry for the interruptions that has taken place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I invite one of my colleague, Dr. P. Rajmohan sir, to introduce the chief guest of today's program. Sir, please.
Good evening to everyone. I am very happy to introduce our resource person, Dr. S. Muthulakshmi ma'am, Assistant Professor of Commerce in our college. Ma'am having a teaching experience of more than 14 years. Ma'am has completed a minor research project funded by UGC. Our resource person has undertaken minor research project on work-life balance of women employees in IT sector, an empirical study with reference to Tamil Nadu, funded by UGC. Ma'am has attended more than 75 national and international conferences and published more than 45 research articles in national and international journals. Ma'am has won the Michael Aldrich Distinguished Women Research Award and Outstanding Teacher Award 2020 issued by CAB Research Forum. Presently, I welcome Dr. S. Muthulakshmi ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Research is a two-way process. Search for what you have gained and what you have to lose. What you have to lose and what you have to gain. Now I hand over the session to our resource person. Ma'am, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Please unmute your mic.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shivasundari ma'am, for giving me an opportunity here, as well as the head of the department, Selvanathan sir. First of all, I'd like to thank the management as well as the principal of the college for giving me permission to be a resource person in this 3-day virtual program. So thanks for the department team members, as well as once again thank the head for giving a continuous patronage to deliver a talk or guest lecture or online webinar for on different topics. I really appreciate the Department of Commerce, SF, for giving such a topic and including me in many webinars. Thank you, sir. So my presentation will be on research methodology, review of literatures. Then I will go straight away to the sample size determination and the different datas that are used in SPSS package. And this is what I have scheduled today. And meanwhile, you can have a very interactive session in the middle of the program, or you can pose questions at the last. And I like to share my screen. So I'm Dr. S. Muthulakshmi, Assistant Professor of Commerce of V.H.N.S.N.College. And we all know that research is an important area to be covered now. And I would like to start with a quote. Research is turning the unknown into reality, and research is creating new knowledge. So even during this pandemic period, many funding agencies have given us a number of topics to be conducted on COVID-19. And I would like to appreciate the funding agencies, ICS sir, for giving a lot of projects on COVID-19, and a number of projects were sanctioned also. So research, let us go straight away into research. What is research? So research is a very essential and powerful tool. And with research, we can lead a man towards progress. So without systematic research, there would have been a very little progress. So even whenever a product comes into the market, or whenever there is a policy making, behind it, there's a wonderful research work that have taken place. So discovering new truth, which in turn will lead to a better way of doing things and better products. And this is a very essential part of research. Let me go into the definition of what is research. So according to C.C. Crawford, research is simply a systematic and refined technique of thinking, employing specialized tools, instruments, procedures in order to obtain a more adequate solution of a problem that would be possible under ordinary means. So detailed and a careful study of something to find out more information about it is research. So the definition that is given by Crawford will explain all these aspects. So it is a systematic beginning, and the systematic beginning will be accompanied with the techniques and the tools to be scientifically proven, and that is research. So why? What is the necessity of conducting the research? Yes, there are many advantages for which we conduct research. To gain a very competitive advantage in the market, and to test about the new products and services, or even the consumer attitude towards these products and services. And in case of management, to take a good decisions, the management has to conduct some research. And even if there is a problem in the organization, we can conduct a research how to solve this problem in the organization. And here, my dear participants, researchers are there, and I could see many professors also. So you might have conducted a lot of research in all these aspects. So moreover, to provide information which may help to avoid future business problems. So these are the necessary areas where we can conduct research. Not only these, it is very limited, but still in many areas we can conduct research. So now, I have given a short definition as well as a short information about what is research. So the very important aspect of research is literature review. And we should know why it is very important, the necessity of literature review. See, once the literature review is collected properly and appropriately, then our research work will be a very highlighting one. So let us see why we conduct a literature review. And I have given some points here. So literature review will explain the background of research on a topic. So we should know about the origin of the problem, the history of the problem, and that we can see only through a literature review. So so now we can see our research is confined to a particular area. So that cannot give you a proper review of literature. But when we were doing research, we visited a number of universities and colleges to know about the origin and the history of the topic. Even though if there are a number of social apps, still these may not give you a thorough literature review. So you should be ready to go to universities or colleges or even some best institute. So if you take a HR, there are best institute where we can have a number of resources. So for my research, I went for IIM Bangalore. So where I got a lot of data on this particular topic, that is work-life balance. So this should be there to know about the literatures already prevailing. So it demonstrates why a topic is significant to a subject area. So is it necessary? Is the topic relevant to the subject area what we are undertaking? So there the literature review takes place. Takes place there. So it also discovers a relationship between the research studies and ideas. So even when only when we have a thorough idea about all these studies, we will find out where there is a research gap in it. So and also it will identify the major themes, concepts, and researches on a topic. Moreover, one thing I would like to say, so when we conduct a literature review, we will have a number of variables. We will select a number of variables to prepare a questionnaire or an interview schedule. And the most important thing is to identify the critical gaps and points of disagreement. So is there any research gap in a topic and where we can extend the topic further? So discuss further research, the questions that are logically come out of the previous study. And this is the important points to be considered why we conduct a literature review. And again, what are the types of literature reviews? We can classify the literature reviews in number of types. So the first one will be the argument review. The second one will be the integrated review, historical review, methodological review, systematic review, and theoretical review. So presently we are concentrating a number of reviews on systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So let us see what is an argument review. So this argument review, it examines the literature selectively in order to support or refute an agreement. See, suppose if there is an educational reform, a policy or an educational reform or an immigration control. So there may be some difference of opinion. There may be a support to an argument, or there may be an argument against this education reform or immigration control. So for this, we can collect a number of argument review. So just a minute. Yes, so I was standing here. The education reform and immigration control. The first one will be the argument review. Suppose if your problem pertains to such a type of problem, an education reform or policy or an immigration control, or some difference of opinion is there currently taking place, then you can go for a number of argumentative reviews which have already taken place. And the next part of it will be an integrated review. See, in integrative review, we include both the quantitative as well as qualitative studies. In other words, both experimental and non-experimental studies. So this is a very common form of review in social sciences. So in social sciences, we take both qualitative data, we take both quantitative as well as qualitative data for a study. So this is an integrated review. And speaking about the historical review. So a few things just in isolation from historical precedent. Historical literature review focus on examining the research throughout a period of time. So already what has been there, what is the first time issue, and what concepts and theories or phenomena they have followed, emerged in the literature. We are tracing out its evolution within the scholarship of a discipline. So if you're going for some problem regarding to an historical aspect, or where there are a lot of studies pertaining to some concepts or already blended theories there or phenomena which have been explored, then you have to take reviews on historical aspect. And then we are speaking about the methodological review. A review does not always focus on what someone said or finding. See, we should not confine a review with what has been said there, or what is the main criteria. So we have to analyze what methods they have used in the particular that is problem or area or article. So the methods, what methods they have implemented there, and that methods we have to analyze to further utilize in our research work. So the reviewing methods of analysis provides a framework of understanding at different level. So those of the theory, then substantial fields, research approaches, and data collection, and what are the analysis techniques they have used in the problem. And I have already said you about the systematic review and the meta-analysis. So this is the way we have to conduct research now. So in case of systematic review, this goal is to deliberately document, critically evaluate, and summarize scientifically all the research about a clearly defined research problem. So a systematic review. So I have gone for a number of conferences regarding this literature of review, and what they are saying, even for article writing, we have to go for a systematic review, and a systematic review has to comprise of 100 reviews before we start to write an article. And it should typically focus on various specific empirical questions about the cause and effect relationship. To what extent does A contribute to B? And this should be there when you collect these reviews. And I have given some examples also here. So this type of systematic reviews are taking place in clinical medicine and allied health fields, but it is increasing being used in social sciences. And we can also, there is an example of effect of gender on the knowledge of medicinal plants, and with the help of systematic review and meta-analysis. So even this systematic review and meta-analysis separately can be given as an article. Okay. And once we collect a systematic review about all the problems which have been pertained to a research work, then we can explore a number of variables, the methods, the analysis, what they have given there. And next, it confined to theoretical review. The theoretical literature review helps to establish what theories already exist. See, in case of many research work, there are many theories. So, for example, in my research work also, where I was collecting some literature reviews regarding my topic, I found out a number of theories. So before starting my topic, I was not aware that the theories are prevailing. But when I collected a number of literature reviews, I found out a number of theories regarding work-life balance, and many have given their theories. So, for example, the spillover theory, the dual aspect theory, so many theories were there, and that helped me to conduct my research in a very proper manner. So this is regarding with the theoretical aspects, the relationship, what relationship exists, and what existing theories have been. You too can develop a new theory. So after analyzing so many theories which have taken place, you can have your own theory also. A new concept, a new model can also be generated. Okay, now what should the review cover? So the review should cover these important aspects. So when you read an article, when you read that is something related to a thesis, what you have to take in the reviews must pertain all these points. So first one, what are the major concepts that has been covered in the review? Next, the snapshots, what areas they have been explored, and what are the relationship. So in case of relationship, what relationship between the variables? What is the cost of a variable? What is the cost of the variable, and what is the effect of that variable, and how it has been classified? Then we have to do an extraction of the important points there, and this literature review should act as an essence, and it should give an essence to conduct your topic in a further beautiful manner. Okay, now let me see about how to structure and write a literature review. So these points should be considered while we conduct a literature review. Thinking about your literature review. So you have to think in which area you are going to conduct your problem and what literature reviews you have to take. And moreover, you have to concentrate on their time span also. Development. Then after taking the literature, how to develop, how to organize your literature review, and how to write your literature review, and what are the common mistakes that is to be avoided during writing the literature review. So these important points you consider while structuring and writing a literature review. So first you have to think what you're going to do, and next develop on what basis. So you have to organize according to the concepts, according to the theories, according to the chronological order. And then after classifying according to the concept, according to the chronological order, according to the year, according to its origin, according to the history, then start to write your literature review after collecting the points which I have already given. It should be in essence of the concerned article, or what to say, a thesis or a paper, writing paper. So it should be an essence of it. And the last one, you have to really consider what are the common mistakes that is to be avoided in the writing the literature review. So before you are going to finalize your literature review. Okay, now let me give a thorough understanding about all these points. Thinking about your literature review. See, when you think about your literature review, you go through all these aspects: the provenance, the methodology, the objectivity, the perseverance, and the value. See, when you take provenance, you have to see where the problem has its origin, and the history of your problem means of something means your problem, where it has been origin already have taken place, in which literature it has taken place, or where the study has been started. So that should be the origin. Okay. And the methodology, it confines to the methods you are going to apply. What are the methods they have applied, and what methods can be used for your area of study or activity. And the objectivity, what objects they have framed, have they fulfilled the objectives and goals, and what they have defined in their in their research work, and what efforts and actions they have taken. And next is the perseverance, favorable to one argument or unfavorable to another argument. So this is more important, whether the problem, the research, there is review we have taken, or the problem they have taken for the study, and the arguments are favorable or against the problem. So perseverance should be there, and the value, how much it contributes to the study. So your literature, the taking of literature should be very prompt to know how far it will contribute to your study. See, in case of contributing to your study, I have already said what methods they have applied. You can take those methods, or what techniques they have applied, or what variables they have selected. Not all, but what are to which your problem under study. So what is your problem under study, and what variables can be taken and included in it. And this is the first one, how to think about your literature review. And next one will be development of literature review. See, in case of development of literature review, the sources, how many sources should I include? So there are many sources. Now we can even take e-sources, e-resources are there. So you can go for journals, seminars, papers, and thesis work or PhD work, the thesis work, as well as articles in various journals. As I told you, many universities are having a back volume of so much of there is research work, and only one thing, we have to go and sit and collect all these reviews and come. So how many sources we are going to take? Should I include? What type of sources shall I include? And the type of sources here refers to, it can be from a book, it can be from a journal, it can be from a website, it can be from that is a scholarly, that is resources, e-resources. So from which type of sources I'm going to collect these literature review. So after collecting all these sources, you just summarize, synthesize, or critique sources by discussing the common theme. You can have your own interpretation. You can have your own critiques regarding the reviews. Should I evaluate the sources? So you have to evaluate, you have to analyze what have been already said about a topic, and just provide a subheadings and other background information. See, after collecting the reviews, I told you that there should be some order. There should be an order regarding the origin of the topic, or the chronological order, or the concepts, or a theory. So you have to give a proper subheadings. So just don't write your reviews as and when, as and how you are collecting. That is not a proper order in writing the literature review. Then, so this is what I have explained. The ways to organize your literature review. How can you organize? So according to the historical aspect, according to the method selected, the standards we are going to apply, and the questions which are going to take for a further research. So for everything, you have to have a proper evidence. Be selective, use quotes. So when you are writing a literature review, if you're going to select the paragraph from an already published journal article in a journal or a book, then you have to put it in quotes, the quotes, or you have to summarize in your own language, in your own voice, or you have to paraphrase. So these are the ways you can organize your literature review. So one simple example I have given. What are the how to give a literature review? Say the author name. So suppose if you're going to follow Shadbury model, then you can go for, first you have to give the author name, and next if it refers to number of authors, and in which year they have published this article, then what is the objective of the study? To study the association of supply chain management components and the organizational performance through in which method they are using structural equation modeling. So, and what variables are there? So, in case of this study, if you're going to take the study, the variables concerned and the constructs used should be supply chain concerns, the supply chain competence, and the organizational performance. So, is these variables are available in the article or the book where you're going to refer, and what methodology they have followed? So, methodology here refers to the perceptions of the middle line managers in the US and Taiwan regarding to the supply chain management. Okay. So the perception, the opinion of the middle line managers in United States and Taiwan. So this will be the methodology here, and not only the methodology is not confined to this aspect alone. It should also take in what if you take research methodology, what samples they have selected and what design they have used in it, what type of sampling they have used, how they have found out, and this research methodology covers all these aspects. And last one, you have to give in your literature review. If you're going to take an article on perception of middle level managers of the US and Taiwan, then the findings. Supply chain competencies have positive effect on organizational performance, and supply chain practices and competence are significantly associated in both US and Taiwan. So this is the finding of this study. You have to give a proper findings of study when you take a literature review. So it can be in your own language. So now presently we have a check on the literature review. We cannot just cut, copy and paste. We have to go for, we have to thoroughly read that article and then summarize according to this aspect. So your literature review should cover the author name, the year of publication, and the objectives of the study, what variables and constructs they have used, and the methodology. The methodology, I'm again saying, it is not confined only to this aspect, and the findings of the study. So this is a proper format in writing a literature review. Okay, now let me share with you what are the common mistakes to be avoided in writing the literature review. See, when you are collecting sources in your literature review, do not clearly relate to the research. So you don't collect sources of literature review which doesn't relate to your research problem. So when you go and examine a number of theses, it is really astonished to see that the problem under study and the reviews they have collected won't pertain to the same area. That it is confined to different areas. So please don't go in for it. Your review should be confined only to the problem you are undertaking. So you do not take sufficient time to define and identify the most relevant sources. Many of the researchers, they do not take time As I told you already, they don't go for any search. They are confined, sitting in your own place and giving the literature reviews. Please don't do that, my dear researchers. Have a wide search of literature. This will be helpful in writing your research work. So you have to take sufficient time to identify where the resources are available, and then whether they pertain to your problem under study. So then it relies exclusively on secondary. So don't go for secondary. So you can go, no, it is not, there is no hard and fast rules. Relies, so many don't depend completely on secondary analytical sources, rather than including relevant primary research studies on it. So you can go for many research works where they have conducted primary studies and uncritically accepts another research findings and interpretations as valid. So when we are going for literature review, நம்ம என்ன நினைக்க கூடாது அப்படின்னா, அவங்க கொடுத்திருக்க findings and interpretation correct தான் அப்படிங்கிறது you should not come to a conclusion. You have to validate, you have to analyze, rather examine critically all the aspects of research, design and analysis. So you might have your own interpretation or idea, or some valid points which they have not included in their work. So does not describe the search procedures that were used in identifying the literature. So many literature review don't give a proper identification of their reviews, and the reports are isolated statistical results rather than synthesizing them in high squared or meta-analysis methods. So reports, so you go for some statistical results, that is that will give you more concrete sources to conduct your research work. So many don't go for literature review based only upon secondary data and conceptual matters. You go for some literature review where some statistics are used and where meta-analytics methods have been implemented there. It will give you more support to your research work. And it should only include research that validates assumption and does not consider contrary findings or alternative interpretation found in the literature. It only includes, so many research works they give only they give that validates assumption, does not consider they go in for some reviews where there is no contrary findings. So a literature review have to be taken where there is proper findings of the study. So this is regarding the common mistakes that is to be avoided. See, even after considering all these aspects, what I like to say is you have to take a concerned time to conduct your literature review, not too long or not too short. So this depends upon the researcher. Okay, this is my aspectal review of literature. My dear participants, is there any questions or interactions regarding literature review?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, my name is Bushra Barkati. I'm a research scholar at Delhi University, Department of Social Work.
Welcome, ma'am.
Ma'am, I wanted you to please put an insight into the meta-analysis. Just give an insight into the term meta-analysis. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So well, I like to share with you. So meta-analysis is a method that is, it is also a type of tools and techniques to conduct, to write in, research work. And so I haven't taken some examples of meta-analysis. So tomorrow I'll give you a topic that is a example of meta-analysis. So this meta-analysis, this is a technique. It is a technique. It has to be framed to write an article with all the variables what we are having. Okay, and this meta-analysis should be conducted only after taking a systematic review. As I told you, you have to take a systematic review of 100 reviews, and then you should frame a meta-analysis. There is some hard and fast rules in framing some meta-analysis. Okay, and I'll give you some examples. No, I have not included in this slide, but I'll give you some examples later on. Ma'am, are you satisfied? So you have to conduct a systematic review, ma'am. There is more than 60 reviews conduct, and there is a technique to be applied to conduct a meta-analysis.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's a recent, the way now recently many are following the systematic reviews and meta-analysis. This is a proper way to do your research work or in writing an article.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm Lavanya.
Yeah.
I have a couple of doubts. One thing is regarding the point on relies exclusively on secondary analytical sources.
Yes, ma'am.
So, something like international trade or policy research may rely mostly on secondary data analysis, though there could be primary, it has to be validated by primary analysis. A major chunk of the research could be data based on secondary sources.
Yes,
So,
ma'am, of course. So you are right, ma'am. I cannot say that for all the problems you have to take a literature review on primary sources. So there are many topics you can that is go for secondary sources. But in case of problems related to what to say, that is a primary research, then please don't stick on to the secondary data alone. You please go for number of primary research works.
okay, ma'am.
Yes, of
And
course, you are correct, ma'am. That is, literature review should be conducted. You can secondary sources you can take. I haven't said that completely. You should rely on primary sources of data. You should rely on secondary sources of data. But many researchers they go in for secondary sources of data without considering the primary research work where the research have already taken place. So that is what I want to mention here. You can really go in for secondary sources when it is policy making or where there is an reforms, or as I told you, some migration immigration control, so and so some topic you can go for secondary sources also.
Madam, I
Yes.
am
thank you.
Dr. A.B. Nada from
Yes, ma'am.
Nagpur, Maharashtra.
Yes.
Madam, actually, whatever the research that I did, it
Yeah.
was totally innovative,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
there was no any literature that was available for me.
Oh, okay.
That was the question asked by the
The external
experts.
examiner. Okay.
What literatures you have done and
Yeah.
like that. So I told them that it's totally innovative and a new research area where
Yeah.
no one actually has done anything.
Mm.
So
What's
in
your
that
topic,
case,
sir? What's your topic, sir?
it was a distribution channel of agriculture produce in Western Maharashtra.
Oh.
Even if you put it in a Google, you won't be able to find any relevant pages.
Oh, sir, in this case, you might have concentrated on some variables regarding agricultural aspect. I hope so.
No, actually, I studied some, whatever the agriculture distribution channels are there. Actually, I tried to find out the disadvantages of all those.
Yes.
And then I came up with entirely new model in which can solve all the problems of distribution channels of agriculture produce.
Oh, this is a first-hand research. Okay, it's a very nice thing, sir, to share with you. See, even though it is a first-hand and innovative research regarding agricultural aspects, I would like to say some recently the researchers are taking the reviews from an already established sources relating to agriculture. So it may not be confined to a complete relationship to your topic or innovation topic, but it may be related to a certain extent. So at least some 10 to 15% it may be related to your topic, and those reviews are taken for the study. Even in our department, one person is doing a topic, and she was not able to collect literature reviews regarding that aspect in production and marketing. So she confined her reviews related to her problem. So you can do some reviews related to your problem. Not all.
Okay.
It may not be similar to your problem, but it can be related. It can be related. So it is known
Somewhat.
as related review literature, related review of literature.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, if the topic is booming, like we have Industry 4.0, or if it is a gig economy or a crowd work, in India at least it is a new concept,
Yes.
right? So now we don't have any strong literature as such to start off with our literature review or to start off with our research. So how to do literature review on such topics, ma'am?
Yes, so that is what I explained to you, ma'am, regarding the person who have done a topic on innovative topic on agriculture. So as I told you, suppose if it is green marketing or eco-friendly, or if it is a booming topic now, you can some origin or some aspect which have been there to bloom this topic may be there. So you can confine your research work to the related review of literature, but you cannot confine to a new topic where there is no research work which have been taken place. So it can be a related review of literature, and this related review of literature is being accepted by the external examiners.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, my dear
Good evening, ma'am.
participants.
Good
Yeah,
evening, ma'am.
yeah.
End of the session, please allow the participant to ask queries, ma'am. It will affect the continuity of the
Oh, sure.
session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Well,
you very
let
much,
us
ma'am.
continue further. So now the second part of my that is webinar is questionnaire. So this questionnaire is very important aspect while you go undergo research work. So the term questionnaire, it refers to a set of questions to be asked to the respondent using a certain format. There are a few general guidelines and a few important points where the researcher may take care while formulating the questionnaire for collection of primary data. So we can see a number of questionnaires. So if I examine the thesis work of many people, research scholars, I can find a lot of mistakes in preparing the questionnaire. So please, dear participants, there should be a confined logical order while preparing the questionnaires. And now I would like to say in this aspect, we are applying a number of tools, statistical tools, while drafting a research proposal or while we are submitting a thesis. So in this case, you have to frame questions relating a matrix form of question to apply the tools. So in case of a regression model, or if you want to apply a factor analysis, if you should have some thinking before itself, before that is drafting a question. Even when in my topic, when I went to a person that is expert to consult the questionnaire, I had an answer that the questionnaire should be based upon the tools where we are going to apply. And but when we are preparing the question, I was really confined to the variables. What are the type of variables which can be taken for this study? But now regarding the tools package, your question also have to be framed a little based upon what tools you're applying. Okay, now the common way. So I have discussed a common that is thinking with you. How can a questionnaire be? So a very common scale can be used, a Likert scale, which may be of 7-point scale or a 7 or 5-point scale. So please rate the following attribute or purpose of using, suppose this is an example for it. So if you want the purpose of using a Facebook, if you study the purpose of using a Facebook, you can put a number of questions in a 5-point scale from or in a 7-point scale. So you can give a number 1 for strongly disagree and 7 to strongly agree. So from the least important to the most important. So this is one way you can prepare your questions. And the questions, if you take open-ended and closed-ended questions, so in case of open-ended questions, there are many examples here. How many employees do you have in the shop? There's an example for open-ended question. What is your monthly wage bill? So what is your monthly expenditure on the following overheads: electricity, maintenance of shop, or the area of shop? It can be an open. So some questions can be open-ended, but not all. So closed-ended questions examples are here. So for 0 to 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh and 1 to 2, so it should start from 1 lakh and 1 to 2 lakhs. Suppose if it is 1 lakh, then you should correctly mention the category in which it belongs. So it can be a closed-ended questions. It can be checkbox questions, or it can be that is a selection of a particular option. So this refers to the closed-ended questions where you are giving the choice. You are giving the choice which is confined only to the particular choice. So what is your billing system? A computer barcode, a manual can be selected. Okay, so this is in case of open-ended and closed-ended question. So in case of sequence of the question, a logical sequence has to be maintained by the researcher while formulating a question. So there should be a sequence, a logical order to be followed for preparing the question. So why I have discussed the review of literature in the before session is, so only when you have a complete and thorough literature review, you can take concerned variables, the important variables for your study, and can prepare the questions accordingly. So without having a thorough literature review, you cannot prepare a good question. So that is what I have said you about the different types of literature reviews and why it is more important. Next, one should make items or questions very clear. See, for example, what is your income if you ask? That doesn't make a sense. Therefore, the question should have been like the following. What is your annual household income from all the sources? So that will be more appropriate than asking what is your income. The question should be relevant and the respondent should be competent to answer the questions. Then most probably I would like to say avoid negative items. See, for example, the store or loyalty is not same as brand loyalty. Is not same. It's not same. It is a negative aspect. So you can avoid such negative items. I do not buy other brand when my brand is not available. I do not buy. There is no reason why Kashmir problem should be considered as an international issue. See, these negative items or the negative questions can be avoided to a certain, so to a extent. And in our research work or in preparing the questionnaire, the thing that should be very clear. That is, your question should be very clear. It should be in a very simple language. It should not be in jargons. Or that is, before going into final preparation of your questionnaire, just pre-test your questionnaire with experts. So when I did my work under the effective guidance of the principal, Dr. P. Sundarabandyan, we did a number of pre-testing work. We did a lot of pre-testing work, and we consulted with many experts regarding this work-life balance. Only after that, I was able to frame a complete set of questions. So that is more important. You have to pre-test your questionnaire. You have to identify the gap in it, your mistakes, your omissions. Sometimes you might not have included the most important questions, but after consulting with the expert or the persons who are very intellectual in that area, you can include a number of questions. You can identify where you have missed those questions. So that is also important. And next, you can go for liability and validity check. And reliability and validity are two important characteristics. So just I have given theoretical matters. Reliability refers to the confidence we can place on measuring the instrument. So as I told you, you can go for a reliability check in case of scaling type of questions. And validity, on the other hand, means whether your measuring instrument is more properly used. So this is case of reliability and validity. So this is what I want to say about a questionnaire. A very simple thing I have given about a questionnaire. So that should be logical. So I like to summarize what should be in your questionnaire. There should be a logical order. So you can go for scaling techniques of question. So only when there is a number of scaling technique of questions, you can apply some statistical tools. So before framing the questionnaire, go for pre-test of questionnaire with some experts or intellectual. Then frame your questionnaire. Then include the most important points. Avoid if there is any omission, please include it. Then you can go in for number of questions. You can include also number of questions. And after doing it, you have to see what tools are you going to apply, which will be relevant to your study. So that should also be considered before finalizing your questionnaire. So I was very interested to apply structural equation modeling, but I have framed a questionnaire. Then I consulted before, so I consulted many experts, and after that I consulted one expert where I like to do structural equation modeling. But the person told me that your question, the framing of question should be like that. Now it is too late. You cannot apply the structural equation modeling. So finalize your questionnaire before going in for the study. You also decide what type of tools you can apply for your questionnaire. So before, there was a controversial issue whether the tools should be applied or not. But recently in our research works, I don't know whether what can I say in this aspect. In all the research works, there is a necessity of applying tools, SPSS tools, to come out in a well-manner, to prove it in scientific manner. That is what I want to say. Okay, my dear participants, this is my second part questionnaire. The first part was my research, how should be a research review of literature. And the second part was questionnaire. The third part of my presentations will be the variables which you have to know. So there are different types of variables. One is independent variable, dependent variable, extraneous variable, and intervening variables. Okay, here I have given just an image of some that is dependent and independent variable. See, in this case, independent variable is the counseling services and dependent variable is the marriage problem. See, when there is a marriage problem, you go for counseling. இல்லையா? ஸோ நம்மளுக்கு நிறைய மேரேஜ் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இருக்கும் போது நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா வில் கோ ஃபார் கவுன்சிலிங் டு கெட் அ சொல்யூஷன். And not only counseling will be an independent variable, there are some extraneous variable which is taking place to affect the relationship in a marriage. There is an improvement in the couple's economic situation, the birth of a child, the pressure from the friends and relatives, self-realization, and another person in the relationship, the extent of communication between the couple's motivation to improve the situation, and the competence of the counselor. So these are the extraneous variables. So not only independent variable alone, there are some extraneous variable which affects relationship in a marriage life. Okay, now another example I would like to say is the mortality and the fertility. So here dependent variable will be the fertility and independent variable will be the mortality. So hope you can understand, and the extent of the use of contraceptives. So here, what is the attitude towards contraceptive use among the population, the level of education of the population? These are extraneous variable to affect the fertility. And provision and quality of health services, motivation of the individual, age of the individual, religion, etc. So these are some extraneous variable which affects the that is fertility rate. So not only only one variable affects it, so many variables are there which affects the fertility rate. Okay, now this is regarding what I have given is dependent variable, independent variable. Okay. Now, in case of we're going to use SPSS tool to give a scientific view of your research work, then you should know more about the variables. There are constant variable where we can take only one category of values. See, for example, taxi, tree, water, this will be a constant variable. Okay. And if you take dictonymous variable, it has two categories. Suppose you can ask whether he is a male or a female. Yes or no questions, good or bad, heads and tails, ups and downs, rich or poor. This is a dictonymous variable. And polytomous variable can be divided into more than two categories. So first is constant variable, just one category. Dictonymous variable will have two categories, and polytomous variable will have three categories. So in case of three categories, there are some examples. If you take religion, if you're going to ask a question about religion, then that is a polytomous variable. You can give a choice of Christian, Muslim, Hindu. Then if it is a research work on political parties, labor, liberal, conservative, and attitude, if we want to know the attitude of a person, you can go for strongly favorable, favorable, uncertain, unfavorable, and strongly unfavorable. So these are the different types of variables other than that. Okay, now this is most important thing you want to know before applying, that is before going into apply for a statistical tool when you're going to enter data in SPSS. Okay, so here when you going to enter a question and you are going to give a that is data, so you should know what type of question you're going to insert in it and what type of data you have to select. So the types of data are classified into four categories. One is the nominal data, the ordinal data, the discrete data, and the continuous data. See, for example, nominal data, we are not going to study or analyze the nominal data. So the examples are so gender, a women or a men. So if it is a hair color, see many type of analysis we like to know. So I have given the examples. Even a hair color may be an analysis. We cannot take analysis, but we will ask some questions. If it is an Indian or for a foreign person. So something we should know about the person, hair color, then ethnicity. If he is an Hispanic or Asian, these are nominal data where we are not going to do any much of analysis over here. And next is the ordinal data. So ordinal data, if it is a question on ranking, if it is a question on order, so first, second, and third, or the letters grade A, B, C, or the economic status, whether low, medium, or poor. So this will come under ordinal type of data. And the quantitative data, so these are nominal data and ordinal data are classified into qualitative type of data. And the quantitative type of data, again, it is classified into discrete data and continuous data. So in case of discrete data, the examples are the number of students in the class, the number of workers, the number of home runs in, and here that is home runs in a baseball game. And continuous data, the height of the children, the square footage of 2-bedroom house, the speed of the cars. So this is the continuous data. So in all these types of data, we need to put it in SPSS, you have to classify the variable whether it is a nominal data or an ordinal data. That is more important. Again, let me have an explanation of that. So quantitative data again is expressed in a number that can be quantified. அதாவது நம்மளால அதை measure பண்ண முடியும். Okay. And suppose the best examples are given here. The scores on tests and exams, 85, 67, 90, these all will come under quantitative type of data. The weight of a person is a quantitative data. Your shoe size, 8, 9, 10, whatever it may be a quantitative data. The temperature of a room, 30 degrees. So these are all will come under quantitative type of data. So for example, if you take a qualitative data, it can be expressed in number and can be measured. There is qualitative can't be measured. So qualitative data consists of words or pictures. So qualitative from the word you can understand the pictures, symbols, and it is not numbers. Only we can measure quantitative data. Qualitative data cannot be measured. So for example, the color of the sea, your favorite holiday destination, Hawaii, New Zealand, the name of a person, John, Patricia, the ethnicity such as American, Indian, Asian. So these all examples will come under qualitative type of data. So the researchers should know about all these data before going in for a SPSS package. So again, let me give a thorough explanation about ordinal data, where the number is in order. This is the crucial difference between the nominal types of data. Ordinal data is data which is placed in some kind of order, which have some kind of order. So if you want to rank type of ice cream which is very where the perception of the consumers are more, or where the liking of the consumers are more to a particular type of ice creams. So then you can categorize, you can place it in an ordinal type of data. So ordinal variables are considered in between qualitative and quantitative variables. So we can also assign numbers to an ordinal data. So for example, ordinal data can be given first, second, third. So the first, second, third person in a competition, as I told you, the letter grades A, B, C. Or when a company asks the customers to rate the sales experience from 1 to 10, or a low, medium, and high. So these all data you are going to ask, then it comes under ordinal type of data. So again, I think we have already dealt about nominal, ordinal, and below it's a what is an image format. So as I told you, nominal data consists about gender, hack, color, so and so, an example. So you'll skip on the slide. So okay, now let us go into the discrete versus continuous data. So the discrete data is count that involves only in the day. See, for example, you cannot ask a person the number of children in a class is a discrete data. You cannot count those individual in 1.5 kids are there. You cannot say. So it should be a whole integer. So to put in other words, the discrete data can take only certain values. The data variables cannot be divided into small parts. So it has limited number of possible values, the days of the month. Okay. So this is a type of example for discrete data. And continuous, even there are more examples in discrete data. The number of students in a class, the number of workers in a company. So the workers in a company, we cannot say 2.5 workers are there or 3.5 workers are there. So you can go in only for 3 or 2 workers are there. The number of test questions you answered correctly. You cannot say that I have answered 55.5 questions correctly. You cannot say like that. So you can say only I have answered 55 questions in a right manner. So next is continuous data. So continuous data is an information that could be meaningful. It is divided into final levels. So it can be measured on a scale or a continuum, and can have almost numerical value. For example, you can measure your height at a very precise levels in meters, in centimeters, in millimeters. So this is a continuous type of data. See, there is one more example. For example, between 50 and 72 inches, there are literally millions of possible heights. 52.04, 69.94 inches, so and so. So there are more examples, the amount of time required to complete a project, the height of the children, the square footage of a bedroom, or the speed of the cars. So here I have dealt about the nominal data, the ordinal data, the discrete data, the continuous data, as well as quantitative, qualitative data. And there are examples here. So what I have given in the presentation, I have given in the that is the image format. So discrete data is it's a count that involves only integers. The discrete value cannot be subdivided. The number of students in the class, number of workers, the number of home runs in a baseball game. In case of continuous data, the amount of time required to complete a project, the height of the children. So these are continuous type of data. So one more thing we'll go for in SPSS package, interval data as well as ratio type. Okay, now the SPSS Windows. So how it will be there? So we have two important views in SPSS. One is the data view, another one is a variable view. So in case of data view, you use to display the data. Columns, I could have given a screenshot for you. The columns represents the variables, and tomorrow you will you'll go into the SPSS Windows and you'll have more explanation about the tools that can be applied. And the rows represents individual units of groups in units that common values of variables. See, this is regarding the data view. And variable view, there are some thing you have to go for. You should know about the type, you should know about the label, you should know about the values. You should see what variables are selected, you have framed into a questionnaire, and that variables will be inserted in the SPSS that is data view and variable view, and these variables will be given what type of variable it is and what label you are going to give for it and what values you are going to give. So see, in SPSS you'll be giving just numbers, the values, and the measure, whether it is an ordinal type of data or nominal type of data or interval type of data. Okay. And next will be the output view, where whatever you are going to run in SPS will be displayed in the output view. What tools you are going to apply and what results are there will be displayed in the output view. This is in case of SPSS Windows. And again, there's a summarize of data entry. So variables that are not identified, such as name, country, school, etc., you can use numerical values. So everything will be given in numerical values in SPSS. So some procedures require numerical values for levels. SPSS will print only the values on the output. See, for a large data set, you can go for Excel. You can completely depend upon the Excel and then import the file in SPSS. Then give a descriptive label to variable names. See, for example, if you're going to select just a variable, you have to give an explanation on the that is a label column. And keep in mind that that columns are variables. You don't want to multiple columns to the same variable. Okay. Now let me go into the sample size determination. See, in case of this is my next part, the last part of my presentation, sample size determination. See, how large should my sample be? It depends upon the accurate representation of the population, whether it depends upon the large enough to be an accurate representation of the population. The sample should be a good representation of your population. And it should be large enough to achieve statistically significant results. See, when you're going to apply SPSS, if you want to go for multiple regression or any some sort of tools that is more necessary, your sample size should be above 500. So it cannot be confined, it cannot be limited to a certain extent. So this is in case of sample size determination, which is given by Israel 2009. And here the sample size, you can work on it. So this is the sample size, the answer you're going to get. NO represents the sample size, Z, the value of Z in the normal distribution curve, and the level of precision, the variance of an attribute. See here, when you determine the sample size, so there are three criteria where you have to take. One is the level of precision. Okay, so the level of precision, it usually refers to the that is sampling error. So the level of precision should be there. And the level of confidence, if it is 90%, 95%, or 99%, the level of precision, that is a confidence level. And the third thing you have to consider is the degree of variability. That also has to be taken into consideration. So with all these, you can apply the formula. You can apply it in the formula. So 1.642 will be Z, 9.652. It depends upon the study you are going to take undertaking, or it depends upon the sample according to all these three things: level of precision, level of confidence, and degree of variability. So listen, my dear participants, there are very simple method to determine your sample size. You can go for softwares also. Sample size calculator is there. So just in this area, what margin of error can you accept? So usually social science researchers, they will go for 5% level. There is already the margin of a sampling error, and here the confidence level can be 95%. And if your population size is 20,000, population size is 20,000, then you just fit in 50%. So here for each question, what do you expect the results? If the sample size highly skewed, and if you don't know, just put in 50% here. So this will give you accurate result. So your sample size is 377. So your population size is 20,000, and here your sample size will be 377. So you can easily apply a sample size calculated to determine your sample size. And next is, see, Fedge and Morgan have given in 1970, they have given a table for determining the sample size of a known population, See, for example, if here the n represents the population size. See, if you're going to take a population size of n of a number of 10, then it's a very, very small size, then your sample size also will be 10. Okay. See, and here, you can see here, in this area, if it is 75,000, you can go in for a sample size of 382. So it is when the population size is more and more, the sample size can be little adequate. So this is, you can go for a calculator, you can go for sample size table. Not only this table, many tables are there to calculate the sampling size. Okay, my dear participants, so I have covered in this area a lot of information regarding research, and second part of my presentation was review of literature. And next we were seeing about what type of how can a questionnaire be framed, the type of variables, and what type of variables are very important when you put it in the SPSS package, and sample size determination. So this is my whole presentation today, and I was very glad with my dear participants who are very interactive with me. So I would like to end up with a quote: research is creating new knowledge. Not only new knowledge, it adds 1% of knowledge to an already existing research. So this is what I would like to say in my presentation.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a doubt in the value of E, level of precision. Is it more of a probability measurement? On what basis can the researcher zero in on E values for level of precision under sample size determination?
See, ma'am, level of precision, as I told you, it is a sampling error. You can go in for, there is a sampling error of just 5%. You can go in for 5%. You need not be more than that level of precision. You can, but 5% is far, it will be more appropriate.
Okay. So it's something like alpha in confidence interval.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. This is
Yes,
Meenu. Ma'am, whether we have to calculate the sample size for each question, ma'am.
Whether we have to calculate sample size for each question.
Yes, ma'am. For that, I have read in some book that for each type of questions, we have to calculate sample size differently. So whether we have to calculate sample size for each question or how to calculate it, ma'am.
Ma'am, when we are calculating the sample size, based only upon the population, you can determine your sample size. You need not go for each and every question, ma'am. I don't think it is appropriate.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding review of the section.
Yes,
Is
yes,
it
sir.
conduct a systematic literature review with Google Scholar?
So there is no, you can collect e-resources. I didn't say that e-resources will not be a systematic review. You can collect from e-resources also. A systematic review, what I mean is you should collect a number of reviews. You should not pertain to 20 reviews or 30 reviews. You should go in for number of reviews. So when I attended the conference, there was a person from Murugan sir from Hyderabad University. So he was explaining about the systematic review and meta-analysis. He said a review of 100 reviews will be more appropriate to conduct a systematic review.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
You explained very well, ma'am.
Thank you, Malarvili, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. A Morgan table is used for known population or unknown population, ma'am. For sample taking sample size. Morgan table. Is it for known
Ma'am,
population?
that is Malarvili, ma'am. Morgan table, I have given in the, you can see the heading there. It is
Yes, ma'am.
calculated for known population, not for an unknown
But I
population.
have calculated with the help of Yarman's formula, ma'am. Is it right? In my
Yeah,
thesis.
there are many tables, ma'am. You can calculate, but you can calculate. You can apply any table which is more appropriate. Just I give an example where we are dealing about the sample size. You can calculate, ma'am. No, there is no
Okay. My
restrictions there.
in my thesis known population. Some population is
It's a known population.
1880.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. You can go for table.
1882
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
table.
You can go for a known that is the table values itself.
Okay, thank you.
And you have to
Hello.
instruct in your research work in what type of table you have been adopted there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am, my question is this 384 sample is fine for the PhD research, or we need to because as per the equation in this table is 384. So is it fine for PhD final data, or I need to collect like 400, 500, or 600, something like that?
Good question, Rahul. That was a good question. Actually, in PhD research work, we should go in for more than 500 type of data, because even if when you are going to apply a tool, a statistical tool analysis, then it is more appropriate to go in for more sample size. You should not restrict your sample size to 200 or 100 or 300. That is not proper.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Rahul. See, there was a question in the chat box. I would like to answer it. 10% of the population is appropriate. You can take 10% of a population also as a sample size. So we researchers, we go for 10% of the population also. I don't know who that is a person, Sivahami Shenbaham.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Abhinay sir.
Ma'am, actually, my doubt is this 10% of the population sample is enough for taking research regarding the subject, whatever we are taking? Is it 10% of the population is enough for the PhD research purpose research?
Yes, it is appropriate. So you can go for 10% in your PhD work also. So I
Oh,
have seen a number of theses concerned confined with 10%.
okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebenezer, sir.
Okay.
See, in case of unknown population, we have a determination and which will be explained tomorrow.
Okay, ma'am.
Menu Lakshmi, you have asked a question about for population is unknown, how to calculate the sample size. That will be clearly explained tomorrow, ma'am. We do have a part in it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. See, in case of sampling method, there are a lot of sampling methods are there. As the principal has rightly pointed out, many when the population is finite or when it is a known population, you need not apply convenient sampling technique. You can go for some other sampling. So it depends upon the nature of study you are going to undertake.
Ma'am, I have a question. Uh, like, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Ma'am, I have a question. Like you mentioned in one of the slides, like qualitative data, we go for nominal and ordinal, that is scale data. And while the quantitative is for continuous and discrete. So here, ma'am, continuous is discrete. You mean to say that we need to go with interval and ratio scale, like the categorical one.
Yeah, of course, ma'am, you are rightly correctly pointed out. Yes, interval and ratio scale. That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. See, in case of publication in paper or articles, that also depends upon the nature of study. Suppose you're going to take 30 respondents or 50 respondents, your sample size should be at least 10% in it. So it depends upon the nature of study as well as the sample population. That's a good question now. So a sample size for a seminar or publication paper also depends upon the population size. See, madam, how to identify the difference between categorical variable and other. So this is what I want to insist again. Go for a thorough review of literature. In that review itself, when you're taking the variables, you will know whether it is a categorical variable or a dependent or independent variable.
Ma'am, uh, there is a question. There is one question in the chat box, and it has scrolled up. Even I wanted to get into the context specifically. So, ma'am, the question is, what is operational definition and what is construct? So, can you give a brief of this? Thank you, ma'am.
Just Barkadi Bushra. Ma'am, could you raise the question again?
Yes, ma'am, sure. Ma'am, there is a question asked by Dr. Christopher.
Yeah.
Even I wanted to know.
Yes.
He has asked that could you please give a brief view of the operational definitions and what is construct?
Just a minute, madam. Just a minute, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Take your time, ma'am. No issues.
of construct validity, it refers to a measurement or a manipulation and the extent to which it really measures and what it claims to measure or manipulate. See, ma'am, there are a number of construct validity. We can say it as face validity, content validity, and criterion related validity. And in case of face validity, when others agree that it looks like it does measure or manipulate the construct of interest. For example, if you can take, if one says that he's manipulating my subject's sexual arousal by making them drink a pint of isonic saline solution, you would probably be skeptical. So this is regarding the face validity. And case of content validity, assume that we can detail the entire population of behavior that an operations is supposed to capture. To measure the content validity, we can do best to describe the population of interest and then ask the experts to judge how well the representative or a sample is that of the population. So there are three types of construct validity: face validity, content, and criterion related validity. So this is in case of my operational definition regarding there is construct validity. And moreover, again, the criterion related validity will be classified in many modes. I haven't covered in my slides: concurrent validity, predictive validity, convergent, and discriminant validity. So each one is having its own definition. The measurement or a manipulation and the extent to which it manipulates can be taken as construct validity. Hope you can understand it, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I can. But ma'am, from the question, I can get that he had asked for, he had asked for two different aspects, like how to go with operational definitions in literature review. Ma'am, as for the concern is, like, operational definitions are the one which are the driving force towards the literature survey. What I understand through my studies and reviews. Is it so, sir, ma'am?
Can you, Bhargati Bushra, so one more, just repeat it again.
Ma'am, I'm saying these questions were two different questions, like operational definition in literature review.
Operational definitions in literature review. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Is something which is the driving force towards the your investigation, your research investigation in particular. Is it so, ma'am?
Why not, ma'am? The operational definition, the models, the theories, everything can be confined, can be connected to your problem. So there is no restriction, whether it may be a definition or whether it may be a model, whether it may be a theory. It can be related to your problem under study. That is what aspect I have taken it for my study. Maybe operation definition, or it may be a model, it may be a theory, it may be a concept.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your fruitful session. Participants, if you have any other doubt, please clarify your doubts in WhatsApp group. Thank you. Once again, I thank all the participants and the resource person. We will meet you in the next day. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. Please send the feedback form.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, my dear participants, for your patience listening.
Ma'am, please add me in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Sure,
And
ma'am.
thank you, dear participants, for patient listening as well as your interactive questions to me. We look forward in the future also.